Here at Sontronics, we are always looking at ways to improve on what we've done before. And it was 10 years on since the launch of the original Sigma and Delta ribbon microphones that we found ourselves with Sigma 2 and Delta 2. Both these ribbon mics are designed and developed and hand-built here in the UK. We learned a lot from some of the improvements we'd made in other microphones, including some of the electronic components and some of the physical and mechanical properties of the materials we were using. And in Sigma 2 and Delta 2, what we've done is made some vast improvements in the quality of electronic components on the circuit board, and also improved the physical structures and durability of the microphone's bodies themselves. Alongside a vastly improved printed circuit board, we have also introduced our own custom-made, unique hand-wound transformers, which are made for us locally here in Poole in Dorset in the UK. The effect that these improvements have had on the Sigma 2 and Delta 2 are vast. Most importantly, they have created a linear frequency response which runs between 45 Hz and around 9 kHz, which is an incredible feat for a ribbon microphone. What this means is that the user will hear what they expect to hear from a ribbon microphone, which is the very typical and classic high frequency roll-off. But in fact, the control of the sound, the amplitude of the sound, is in the hands and the expression of the musician themselves. So a pianist or a guitarist, for example, can be playing an arpeggio of notes, and the expression, the level of output is from their fingers and not from a dip or a boost in the frequency response of the microphone itself. In a nutshell, both Sigma 2 and Delta 2 give an incredibly natural reproduction of the original signal. Delta 2's lower sensitivity, as mentioned before, it allows it to be used with high sound pressure level, high SPL signals. So for example, guitar amplifiers, brass instruments such as trumpets, trombones, and even some kick drums when used judiciously. The Sigma 2 is more suited towards acoustic instruments. It has the higher sensitivity, around 10 decibels extra. So for example, acoustic guitar, piano, stringed instruments, and even as a stereo pair over drums works very, very well indeed. Interestingly, Sigma 2 also works beautifully for spoken word and vocals when used with a pop filter. The high frequency roll-off adds a very vintage tone, since the ribbon microphones tend not to reproduce any of the room acoustics and reflections. So one can hear a very natural, almost intimate tone from that microphone. Your Sigma 2 or Delta 2 will be supplied in a premium quality ABS flight case, which allows it to be taken out of the studio and on the road without any fear or worry. And also included in each flight case is the appropriate shock mount for the microphone. Part of our development for the new Sigma 2 and Delta 2 was to think about taking them outside of the studio. Ribbon microphones have such wonderful characteristics, and therefore they should be able to be used outside with care. So what we've done is included a radio frequency filter in both microphones to help prevent against any interference while being used on a live soundstage, for example. Both Sigma 2 and Delta 2 also come with our Sontronics lifetime warranty.